Okay, so for the method of red dye penetration that I will be demonstrated to you, I will not be wearing a mask. So this is to ensure that you will be properly hear my instruction. So therefore, I will be not wearing a mask. But for you, when you're conducting the testing method, please ensure that you are fully wear your mask while conducting the testing method. Okay, so the mask will be provided. Okay, to make sure you properly wear your mask well. Okay. So thank you for your cooperation and ensure the safety of your webbing are properly taken care while in the laboratory. So now let's watch the step of conducting the dye penetration testing method. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and a very good day. My name is Muhammad Nazif bin Hamzah. I am from Quality Engineering section at UNKL MyTech, and I am the instructor for the non-destructive testing module. So for this video, I would like to demonstrate to you on how to conduct red dye penetration testing. So without further ado, let's move on. Let's first review on what the equipment that we'll be using. So for red dye penetration testing, we'll be using these three, what we call it as aerosol can, which are all disposable items. So the first disposable item that we'll be using is the cleaner. So this we'll be using to clean for the surface preparation for the sample or the test area. So this is the first disposable item that we'll be using, which is cleaner. The second disposable item that we'll be using, so this is the main item, which is red dye penetrant. Okay, so read carefully on the can what the label says before using any of these three disposable items. So this is red penetrant. So this is the second item. And lastly, the third item that we'll be using is the developer. Okay, so in the label says developer. Okay, so next we'll be using goggles. So this is to protect our eyes. Okay, and then please wear the provided glove. Okay, and then please use the wire brush. Okay, please use the wire brush and to prepare the sample preparation. Okay, and then okay, we'll be using okay, and then we using tissue and tissue. Okay, so please uh, take out or select your sample, so your desired sample at the sample station area. Okay, so for one student need to conduct one specimen. Okay, so for each specimen there will be a label, such as for example number 6A. Okay, so meaning that for each of the sample it has its own types of defect or discontinuities. Okay, so each sample has been labeled and the types of defect has been identified in the standard from the reference box. Okay, so when conducting the inspection, you will need to conduct on both sides, even though that we already know that the sample will be on one side only. Okay, but for the lab purpose, for the practical, you need to conduct the test on both sides. Okay, using the same procedure. Okay, so The first thing that we need to, so for radar penetration, there are 8 steps that we need to follow. Okay. So the first step is, to conduct surface preparation or to conduct pre-cleaning stages. Okay. So for to conduct pre-cleaning stages, we'll be using the first solution, which is a cleaner. Okay. So shake the aerosol can properly. Okay. And then spray on the sample. Okay. So use your wire brush, right, to rub out uh, any impurities or any dirt. Okay. Okay. So any rust, okay, that we can be seeing, we need to clean out first. Okay. So for retina penetration, the pre-cleaning is very important. If the pre-cleaning is not properly done, okay, it will affect it on the penetrant application and on the developed application, and up it will affect on the final result. So surface preparation or pre-cleaning for retina penetration is very important. Okay. So after we have complete the first step, so the second step is to apply the red dye penetrant. Okay. So again, read the label carefully on the aerosol can. Okay. Before use any of these 3 disposable items. Okay. So shake well the aerosol can. Okay. And then try out first. Okay. Okay. So to apply the penetrant, we'll be applying. So remember, we'll be applying, we want to inspect the weldment area, okay, which is here. So this is the weldment area, and then around 25 mm or 2.5 cm between the weldment, right and left of the weldment area. So this is what we call HAZ, which is heat affected zone. So meaning that this is the zone that are also affected by the heat and might also be affected, which contribute to the defect or discontinuities. So this is the area that we only want to apply the penetrant. Okay. So again, so apply the penetrant at the weldment and both sides 25 mm of the heat affected zone. So now we are on the second step, which is to apply the red dye penetrant. So shake well, okay, around between one fingers, okay. Now we spray, okay. So that we have conducted the second step, which is to apply the penetrant. So now we are on to step number 3. Okay. Step number 3 is to wait, or what we call it as a penetrant dwell time. Okay. So penetrant dwell time will be depends on the first on the manufacturer. So the manufacturer will state it on the can what are the ideal dwell time for the types of penetrant that they are manufactured. So this is the first criteria that we'll be looking for on how to determine the dwell time. And then the second criteria is we reflect on the temperature. Okay? So if it's hot, so it is more fast for the penetrator to absorb into the discontinuity. So if the temperature is cold, it will take some time. And the third is on the viscosity. Okay, so if it's more viscous, so it will take time to absorb into the discontinuities. So this is what we call as the capillary action. So this is where the time taken for the penetrant to properly absorb or properly dissolve into the discontinuities. Okay, so the standard, the normal dwell time is around 5 to 15 minutes. So let's just wait for the dwell time to properly taken into place. Okay, so our 5 minutes is up. We have properly wait for the dwell time to properly penetrate, properly absorb into this continuity. So we are now into the third stages. So third step. So the third step is to conduct the removal of excess. So the keyword is removal of excess. What can be seen on the sample. In other words, okay, to remove excess, okay, please do not directly spray the cleaner onto the sample. This will cause any penetrant that has absorbed will be taken out. So we do not want that to happen. So that's why for these stages, okay, please spray the cleaner onto the tissue or onto a cloth. Then you can clean your surface of the sample. Okay, as long as we can still see red indication on the sample, okay, meaning that the remove of the excess process has not properly been conducted. Okay, so on the area of development where there might be probably a discontinuity that occur, okay, so do not wipe but apply a debit motion onto the sample. Okay, so now we have conducted step number 3, which is to remove the excess penetrant. So now for the next stages, which is step number 4, is to apply the developer. Okay. So again, read carefully on the label of the aerosol can before you use this. So shake well until you hear a steel ball shaking. Okay. Okay. So spray, first try to spray until you see a red or until you see a white indication, so white powder. Okay, shake properly. So do not uh, apply directly on the sample before shaking. Okay, so to apply the developer there are a technique. Okay, so at least again the distance at least 1 fingers, so 2 fingers, so this is the distance. Okay, and then apply layer by layer of the developer. So do not spray non-stop like this. Okay, so this is not the correct way of applying the developer. Okay, so this is the correct way of applying the developer, which is layer by layer. So that's step number 4. Okay. So now for the developer, so step number 5. Okay. So the developer again have its own dwell time. Okay. So we need to wait again around 5 to 50 minutes of the dwell time for the developer. So now for the developer, this is where what we call it as a reverse capillary action. So meaning that the function of the developer is to withdraw what has been penetrated into the discontinuity to arise into the surface. So this is where the indication of the defect can be seen. So again, we need to wait around 5 to 15 minutes of the dwell for the developer. So this is step number 5. After the completion of step number 5, which is the develop time for the developer, now we can see the indication of the defects. So now for step number 6 is we need to inspect and make a measurement of the defect. So for this step, first we need to mark the point of reference. Okay, or we call it as a datum. So this is the point of reference. We need to determine the datum point or point of reference. First, we mark point A, and then the second point is point B. Okay, so now, okay, so we will marking the first indication where the defects occur. So this is first the defect occur, and then where the defect ends, we need to make a mark. So this, so the first marking is the distance of x. So x is the length of the defects begin, and then we have y. So y is the length of the defects. Okay. So now take your ruler and make the measurement. So as we have around 2.4. Okay, 2.4 cm. And then for y we have the length is 2.5. Okay. So after you have made the measurement or the marking, take the photos and put it into your lab report. Okay. So this is step number 6. Right. So once we have conducted step number 6, the final step, which is step number 7, is to conduct the post cleaning. So by using the cleaner, okay, so we need to clean out all the penetrant and developer before we can store the sample or on site. So this is to avoid the rust occur or the defect becomes defective. Okay, so let's conduct step number 7, which is the final step, which is post cleaning. So now we'll be conducting the final step, which is step number 7, which is post cleaning. So by using the cleaner, okay, so now we can directly spray the cleaner onto the sample because we want to clean the sample from penetrant and developer that has been applied. Okay. So once the sample has been properly cleaned, now we can store the sample back into its proper pots for preservation purposes. Okay. So we have completed the procedure for conducting that dye penetration testing. So if you have any question, please contact me on any inquiries on to conduct this procedure. So thank you for watching and good luck on your uh, red dye penetration inspection testing method. So we'll be seeing into the next video for the next method of non-destructive testing. Assalamualaikum.